Where's the love? Where's the love? It's right here in the heart of the city. I'm Silas Grant, and I got my man with me, Tony Lewis Jr. What's up, Tony?
What's up, bro?
Yeah, man. What's happening?
I'm cool, man. You know?
Yeah.
CBC week,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Moving around, moving the crew.
As usual.
You,
Part of course.
per usual. Nah, but I'm good though, man. I'm good. Yeah, been a busy week. Just in overall, but a good week, man.
Good.
You been seeing them Commanders or no? You ain't been seeing them?
I mean, I've been too busy watching other teams that's 2-0.
Yeah, other teams.
You know, shutting people out and, doing all them type of things, man. So
y'all got bad news today too.
Yeah. Trayvon Diggs.
Yeah, and I ain't saying that jokingly too.
Yeah, but now he got ACL.
Local guy. Yeah, I hate to hear that. You know what I'm saying?
It's bad, man. People arguing about whether or not they should have been doing that type of intense sort of engagement on a Thursday.
I was about to ask you. So that's a practice injury. I only saw that he got. I didn't know
it was in practice.
It was something that carried over from like the game or.
Yeah, apparently in practice, but non-contact. So, with X/Twitter now, like, you got verified accounts saying that it's been confirmed, and then you got some people saying that it could be some sort of sprain, but it's looking like the trend of the responses are that it's
a torn ACL.
It's a torn ACL, which is, typically the year. But then you got people like Aaron Rodgers where they talking about he could be back mid-January if they make the playoffs.
Yeah.
But he on a different wavelength. He taking alternative medicine and doing other things, right? So that could play a factor with him versus another guy who takes, heed to what the recommendations are with the standardized process.
Right.
But he younger than Aaron Rodgers too, so.
Nah, for sure. No question. Well, I hope he get well. You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But man. Them Commanders, man. Take command.
Take command.
That's what we say.
Yeah, take command. Yeah.
Take command.
Yeah.
I see. And on that note, we saw how the hearing happened around RFK.
Yeah.
The other day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I didn't see much of it. I saw like a very small piece of it.
Yeah, me too. I saw a couple clips.
Yeah.
Oh, Lano, man.
Lano on there, yeah.
Holding it down, looking real presidential up there. Yeah.
Shout out to Lano, man. We got to get Lano on the show too soon.
Definitely. Talk about that pot and everything. Lano killed them people. Nah, but I think, one of the things real quick on that, I just hope that what we like to do on this show is like give people their flowers and hold people up, right? And the model there, I think that's important. So all I'm saying, like to see bro up there, representing like that, like 'cause at the end of the day, I think was laying on somebody to just do his job. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Ain't so much.
And for those that watching, Delano Hunter.
Delano Hunter, who is the director of the DC's DGS, Department of General Services, which is responsible for all the property owned by the District of Columbia, schools, buildings, blah 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 blah, rec centers, libraries, blah blah blah. It's a lot. I don't say blah 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 in a dismissive way.
Yeah.
But what I'm getting at is, I think sometimes if people in the general public if they don't know Delano Hunter, Delano Hunter from Northeast Washington, D.C.
Spingarn basketball team.
Yeah, man.
They won a title too when he played, right?
I think, Keith, but he went to Spingarn, bruh.
Mm-hmm.
You feel what I'm saying?
That's heart of the city.
Yeah, that's heart of the city, bro. That's
and still
what I'm
live
saying.
over there on
all that
nice corner little joint over there.
You hear me?
Yeah,
bro.
Married kids.
Doing it.
Yeah.
Has led multiple agencies in the DC government.
A lot of agencies.
You feel what I'm saying, bro?
Yeah.
And to be up there representing our city up on Capitol Hill, helping to solidify them supporting the redevelopment of that site. I just wanted to lift that up, man.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the Commanders and stuff made me think about that, bro. Yeah, that's a big deal. I get inspired by stuff like that.
And speaking of Commanders, shout out to Salih too.
Right,
I know his young man that he's been mentoring in his program, which is a radio broadcasting program.
Facts, Dean Wood.
Yeah, Dean Wood, man, which is within the Department of Parks and Recs. Sally Williams. A lot of y'all know him as Big E. If you're a
Boosie
go-go fan, or
Vegas.
Boosie Vegas, right? If y'all are familiar with OP Tribe, lead Mike for a long time doing that work. Found his way into broadcasting and has been responsible for like dozens upon dozens of kids
almost
getting
30
scholarships.
kids, yeah. Full ride.
Yeah, and one of his kids met Magic Johnson, and Magic on the spot was like, "You got a scholarship."
Yeah, I saw that, man.
It was incredible.
That's incredible. You know, that same kid interviewed, you know, me and my dad. We were a
Oh,
part
okay.
of that. Yeah, we went over there.
Yeah.
You know, I've had the blessing of doing that twice. But I mean, listen, I've been interviewed by a lot of people, right? I mean, these young is what he got them doing, bro.
Yeah.
It's incredible. It's remarkable, and it's not remarkable for them because they kid, bro. They're doing like top tier, professional journalism things, bro. And these young budding journalists, I think, are gonna, you know, make a lot of waves. And so, when that kid asked Magic that question, the way he asked it, how he asked it, you know what I'm saying? Magic, like, man, I'm gonna pour into you like somebody pour. I thought that was beautiful, man.
Yeah. And there's a quote that says, you know, until the lion has its own historian, history will always favor the hunter.
Yeah.
Right.
Facts.
And so, as we talk about the legacy of this city, the version that we know, and the issues that we know most intimately, those young people are going to grow up with that lens, and they're going to write and speak from that
100%.
Perspective, right?
And probe from that, from that
Yeah,
perspective.
yeah,
bro.
that's going to be important.
Yeah, what Sally doing, man? He killing it, and you know, so shout out to him, and being able to, you know, he even, adopted one of the participants in the class, man.
I think she may be finishing up.
Yeah, I think about to finish up college, and it's just, you know, there's a lot of all those layers of what, you know, he's done and what's coming out of Department of Parks and Recreation, and the fact that it's over at Deanwood where they got the recording studio and stuff like that, and you know, even his team, the people that work alongside him in the program, the videographer, I can't call his name right, and I apologize for that, but they just doing it, man.
Yeah,
they doing it, bro.
That a great work.
You know, matter of fact, E. From UCB,
of course,
his son,
Lil Eric.
Lil Eric.
He's in
Pace, right? Is it?
He's in Pace in New York.
Yeah, man.
Yeah,
bro. He came up by bro. So he was there when me and my dad came. And all that. It was crazy. So
he's doing real well.
Yeah, man. It's like we get, particularly in this time where I think that's important too. Side like to highlight and talk about that program because you know so many things going on and you know we always hear about our young people is negative. You know, negative, right? Yeah. And these youngers, and they of that same age group and all that, and they doing amazing
So
things.
It's funny you say that because I was at the town hall over in Southeast several weeks ago that Ron Moten put on with Johnson Junior High team and at the Arc, at the Arc. And the Attorney General was there. I got a chance to talk to him for a minute and a few other people in leadership, and a lot of them spoke. And I believe, I can't recall who the person was that spoke, but they gave a stat, and I don't want to get it wrong, but essentially they were making the case that there's like, I think 80,000 kids between a certain age range in the city, right? Mm-hmm. And of those 80,000, I think the number was 800 are sort of like on the radar as far as in trouble, which represents 1%.
Right.
Now, 800 as a raw number is a large number, but still, it's 1%.
Yeah.
Of this population range. And what it speaks to is that the 99, they need some love too. Yeah. We give a lot of attention and love and a lot of chances to the 800, which we should, right? But the other 99%, we need to start highlighting and reinforcing to that group that it's okay to be like Lil Eric or the kid that got the scholarship through Magic Johnson or the other dozens of kids that got it through Salih's program and all the other kids that are working that have done SYEP or any other programs in the city that have afforded them opportunities to have positive experiences.
I agree. I totally agree. Yeah. But yeah, shout out to Big E, man. Boosie Vegas, aka Salih.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? You know what he be doing too that just be, let me tell you why he be blowing me though. He likes to call me.
He called me last week.
Yeah, he likes to call me, man, and talk he want to predict who gonna win this election. I be telling him, man, you not the guru. I am. Man.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I mean? He puts this good broadcasting voice and all that on me. You know what I mean? But nah, that's my man.
Yeah, shout out to E. He called me last week, man.
Yeah, no doubt. Real proud of what they doing over there, man.
Yeah, man.
And hopefully they can. Well, let me take that back. Let me say this, because I don't always like when people say hopefully they can grow it, because certain things supposed to be what they are, right? What I really mean is I hope that what he's done, what he's doing, inspires us to support and fund. Like on his face could be considered outside of the box programming, right? Or what people think our youngins want to do or don't want to do. Like I remember I made a visit to Turkey Thicket over the summer, and they had a gaming.
Oh, it's nice too.
Yeah,
it's nice. I've been in there.
It's tight, man. When I saw something like that, but like stuff like that, videography. Content creation, all of that kind of stuff. We're really in AI, because that's the next way. We really got to start like preparing our young people for that. And if we have resources to do it, we should, man. Yeah,
indeed,
for sure.
Indeed, man. Speaking of preparing our young people, a very hot topic on, at the least, a national level, but maybe even international, has been the way that Coach Prime has been doing this preparation and now execution of putting together essentially a brand new football program at the University of Colorado. 86 kids enrolled in, I guess, the spring of this year. And so in a matter of 6 to 8 months, he's put together a team that defeated the runner-up of the national championship game last year, defeated their arch rival, and then defeated their in-state rival right after that.
Yeah.
And all 3 games were won in different ways. So we want to talk tonight about that phenomenon that is Prime, because it seems like right now, everywhere you see on Instagram, YouTube, wherever, you can't escape seeing people talk about him. And,
everywhere.
He everywhere, right? And he used to play here, but even though he's not from this city, I think he's in the hearts and minds of a lot of people, specifically black people across the country.
Sure.
So it's worth having a conversation about him and everything that comes along with him.
Yeah, I think the deep Clinton Yates, who used to work for the Post, who now works for ESPN.
Yep.
I saw a clip where he asked Prime a question about his team being compared to the likes of the 84 Georgetown Hoyas, the 92 Michigan Wolverines,
91
UNLV, right? The teams that the whole, like, black America said, I'm rooting for them. In 3 games, too, which is, and I think a bit of that obviously is carryover from Jackson State, right, and what he did there. But when we think about it, I'm not going. I promise I ain't going off on a tangent. But I think I just want to ask this question or make this statement this way. I can remember 1992 or 3 going down to 10th and F. When Athlete's Foot was on the corner right there.
Yep, I've been there. Remember that joint?
The founder of We Are One, Kenny Westray, was the manager, right? And somebody sending me down there to pick up a pair of the Diamond Turfs. Both by 2 pair, the black ones and the white ones. Deion Sanders been in our lives for 3 decades, man.
Since technically like 87,
right,
88.
Right.
Going
Since
back
college,
to Florida State. Yeah.
Right? And when you think about it from that aspect, particularly within black culture, right? Whether you liked him or not, and he been performing at the highest of levels. Even when he left football and went to broadcasting, you wanted to hear what Deion had to say. He never stopped being Prime. You know what I'm saying? And then obviously what he did when he got in, even when he was broadcasting, when he was coaching on the
youth level.
On the youth level. You know what I'm saying?
A lot of those kids went pro too.
Yeah, dog. Think about it.
Number of those kids.
He's done everything he's done. He's done in the same fashion.
And it's so amazing that even despite the fact that he's been in the limelight, it feels like there are people who are still just becoming aware of him and his totality.
Yeah. But I think that is easy to, when you're a player, I think players and coaches are seen differently.
Right, I got it.
You know what I mean? When you're a player, it's just all people going, no matter how intelligent you are, it's always going to be, you dominate physically. So like you're a brute. That's how they see you. You know what I'm saying? And you're an amazing like player, right? But when you're able to make that leap and you can see the leadership skills, when you can see, his faith is always front and center. He's unapologetic about that. No, go ahead.
I saw a video last night of him, this had to have been 20 years ago, in a pulpit praying for R. Kelly. I meant to send you that video.
Yeah, I'm telling you. Was Kelly there?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, it was at some bishop's church, and they called him on stage, and then he saw R. Kelly and was like, I've been looking for you. I know the things that you afflicted with, I've struggled with too. I want to pray for you.
Yeah, think about how that, because that's nothing. You know what I mean? Dion had his own situation.
Yo, he tried to kill himself one time.
Oh, yeah, he was suicidal on top
after
of
the 94 Super Bowl. He realized that.
San Francisco.
Yep. He said the feeling that he thought. So what happened was, well, let me not say what happened, because then like I don't have a command on the whole story,
right.
But based on what I remember, he won the Super Bowl with them. That was his first of two. And
who he win the other one with?
Man,
Sorry,
you know what time it is. But he won the first one, and he just felt like this ain't it. I thought it was going to feel better than this. And I think he had like a drop top car, and the car ended up crashing. He was trying to go off a cliff, but something happened and it fell short of him doing what he was trying to do. That's when he went to Dallas, and you know Dallas is a real Bible belt.
Right.
So he got locked in with T.D. Jakes, him, Michael Irvin, a bunch of people. So his whole faith started then. That's what started.
You gonna get that to the Cowboys?
Yeah,
too,
man.
Jerry Jones put it with T.D. Jakes.
Yeah, man. Come on down, man. Yeah. Come on down.
No, but that's I did not know that.
Yeah.
Right? And I mean, I think like in a lot of other things though, there people will say, man, he might be slipping a little bit, or he might, that when you believe in yourself to that degree, it really ain't you just believing in yourself. When you believe in something greater than you, and that's guiding your, how you show up. You know what I'm saying? Dion had the reality show.
I remember that.
Remember that, Joe? Yeah. You think about, and I watched it, you know what I'm saying? But I'm just saying I remember that was on. But he's lived his life like in front of us. And I remember the rumblings when he went to Jackson State. Like, what are he doing? You know what I'm saying? And we saw what he did with the program. But this is what, and you see what he's doing now at Colorado. But the thing where I'm going is, and even if you go back to what he was doing, he was in Atlanta, and Hammer was pulling up on him on the sideline.
Yeah.
Right? With Dion, and you go always, when he does something, it doesn't just affect him. It affects so many other people, right? In whatever he's a part of. So HBCU, not just football, but athletics, right? Or it was heightened because of his light. Mm-hmm. You Boulder, I mean, this still is NCAA Division I football, but what he's doing is helping, say, a Mike Locksley at Maryland.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because now the level of with them, with their respect and prime and what he doing, now it's gonna make Locke's life a bit easier.
Yeah. What I found interesting last week was when Dion and Coach Norvell from Colorado State had their little back and forth.
Yeah.
There was a lot of layers there. The fact that black people are not monolithic, that we have different experiences, that a Jay Norvell, despite the fact they're not a good team, my hope is that following that game, that he is a little more comfortable with being him and not trying to be the opposite of Prime to, in my opinion, tap dance for people that don't look like us.
Yeah.
That's what it felt like when he did that. And so I'm glad that the game was competitive, but it ended the way it did. Because hopefully that can make him go back to the drawing board, not coaching-wise, but how I show up. Yeah. I don't have to tap dance and make people realize, oh, I'm not, gimmicky like it seems to him Prime is, right?
Right.
So when you mention Mike Loxley, again, it's not monolithic. He has a different style. Hopefully we can begin to appreciate that.
That's right.
And
as a black coach, I'm saying it reverberates around, white parents, white donors being saying, well, hold up. You know what I mean? Like, wait, I see the success that's happening in Colorado. I'm saying if they weren't amenable, they weren't supportive, that might change the tide. You know what I'm saying? That's the thing. Or even colleges hiring a black coach. You understand what I'm saying? And it's or what the athletic department is willing to give or do to support these a black coach. You know what I'm saying? All of that, I think Deion's presence. I'm not saying they're gonna win a national championship, but he's invoked something there that people want to be a part of. And then when the ratings, as you shared before we got on air, you stayed up to 2:30 a.m. watching that game. Yeah. I've heard that so many times this week. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? People. When the last time somebody stayed up to 2:30 watching a college football game, man? Yeah. And definitely not the Colorado Buffaloes.
Yeah, but it goes back to going full circle back to what you mentioned about Clinton Yates and that question. So what I was going to say was that, because you didn't watch the game.
I did not.
Right.
Nah.
So I started the game when the first possession, I watched it, and then putting Molly to bed, I fell asleep and woke back up and caught overtime. Caught both overtimes, right? So I watched it until about the third quarter, so fell asleep on the fourth. Well, fell asleep on most of the fourth and saw them tie the game in the fourth. And when I woke up and I looked at the clock, it took me back for a minute to when I was a teenager watching college football at night. It was the first time I had felt that way in a long time.
Right.
And I tried to put myself in the shoes of a 13-year-old boy or girl today. And I thought about that all week, because it was like, it may feel like it's premature, but 3 games into the season, it felt like you was watching Georgetown or you were watching UNLV basketball.
Right.
It felt like that.
Yeah.
I was watching just randomly Travis Hunter's YouTube page this week.
Right.
He's got like 250,000 subscribers. So it's like, who's watching that? Mostly kids.
Right.
Kids who are out on these streets, Benning Road, Pennsylvania Avenue, Georgia Avenue, playing football. They probably want to be Travis Hunter. Yeah, man. They probably have a combo. I'm Shador, you Travis.
Right.
I'm Shiloh.
Yep.
Right? So
yep.
It has the makings. That question is not premature, because it's one thing to watch a game at 12 o'clock in the afternoon. It's another thing to be up at 2, and I guarantee you a lot of people were up. I think that was, again, don't hold me to this, but I think it was top 5 all time watch game on ESPN.
Really?
Yeah, it was like.
And speaking of Travis Hunter, man, he had that hit.
Yeah, it was bad.
Dirty hit, but he had a lacerated liver. Yeah. I said, jeez.
Yeah, 4 weeks, 3 to 4 weeks out.
Yeah.
They got a tough road ahead of them.
Yeah, man, they got Oregon and USC.
Yeah, back to back.
Yeah, that's going to be a test. If he pull them out, either one of them.
He might run for president.
Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness, man. If he does that, bruh, they create some type of game plan that, And
then you got Caleb Williams, Gonzaga.
Yeah. Shout out. Yeah. God is purple. Yeah, let's go. Let's go. So let's go. Caleb ain't gonna play with him though. Yeah. But if it's Oregon this week, right? Oregon first.
Yeah, Oregon's ranked like 13th or 12th.
Yeah,
they like 19th.
Where is that game? Do you know?
It's in Oregon.
It's in Oregon.
Yeah, it's in Oregon. It's early too, relatively speaking. It's like that game is at That game is early. I know it's early.
But so what's interesting, right? Like You know, on the West Coast, you know, they 3 hours behind us. So if it's
I think it's 3:30. So it's like a 12 o'clock
yeah,
game out there.
12 y'all, or in on the opposite end, like if you got an early game on the East, like college, like if you got an 11 a.m. or 12 o'clock game, that's a 9 in the morning game. You know, they feel it more than we do, but that's why also, right, that 2:30 game ended at 11:30.
Yeah.
You know, well, no, they were in Boulder though, right? So that was like one. That's
like
mountain.
2.
That's mountain. So it's 2
like
hours
2
back.
hours behind. Yeah.
But anyway, I think you know, I had seen something speaking to Shador or with the I saw something about like his NIL potential, and somebody had made a comment about him. I think he got some deal with like Mercedes Benz, and he drive a Maybach. You know, we say Maybach, but anyway. But then it was like a thing about he supposed to be getting a Rolls Royce or something.
Yeah.
And like people had thoughts on that, right? I think even Tom Brady made a comment, but I think Brady actually was joking.
Yeah. They was talking to Brady.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay,
like
right.
Shador and Dion were talking to him on his show.
Right. Oh, okay. Is that where that
that's
quote
what it was.
came from?
Yeah,
I just saw the
Prime asked him, like, what you think about this?
Yeah.
And that's when he said what he said.
And spend more time on on the field.
But they talk. I
know he trained them. I mean, you know, they friendly, right? But I was thinking about people grappling with, you know, these young people who have been sacrificing their name, likeness, and image to these universities for decades. They selling all kinds of merch. And those people, them youngins, get nothing. People say, well, they getting education, but they earning it. And I feel, my question is, how do you feel about it? Do you think it's too soon for these youngins to be getting all this money in college? Or do you think they getting what they deserve?
Yeah, so when you break down NIL, name, image, likeness, to me, if you don't have a personality, if you don't have a reputation, you don't have a name, an image, or anything to license, right? Yeah. So NIL may not work out for everybody, but you look at Shiloh, Shador, and Travis, their personalities are out of this world. Right. Their image is out of this world. And it's hard to bottle that and contain it. And so NIL makes sense for them, right? Because, you know, these are kids that they have eclectic ways of how they dress. They, you know, are full of personality. They're talented.
And they produce.
Right, they produce. Yeah. So it works. I think it is time that the kids have that opportunity, because lacerated liver, who's to say he might not have went in a septic shock and died, or whatever it could have happened, right?
And if he'll ever be, I mean, he probably will be back to 100%. But what if he don't?
Yeah, he get a chance to do other things. I mean, again, when I was looking at his page this week, I watched a couple of videos, and I was like, he got a life outside of football where he could do some other things.
Something else. You know, and to that point, too, you know, I saw something today. I don't know where I saw it, but I saw it, and it was basically talking about that Bill Parcells, former New York Giants coach, former Dallas Cowboys coach, has given away approximately $4 million to his former players.
I saw that. Yeah, they needed loans and things like that. Yeah, I saw that.
Right? You think about football as such a brutal sport. It doesn't pay, like, the money ain't guaranteed, especially back then. And you wouldn't think, but in many cases, right, a lot of our probably like a lot of greats off his team, or people that's notable that we know, are broke. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Now, you could equate it to like poor money management and all that. I'm not disputing that necessarily, but what I am saying is they didn't make what they should have from their name, image, and likeness. Yeah. Not at the collegiate level, and probably not at the pros. But with these new age of athlete, right, they'll be able to start earning money earlier, and they'll probably stay in school. Look at Caleb Williams. He didn't go pro. What he going pro? What he going to pro for?
I just think the tools now are in place where it makes sense for someone to just build out their brand. When we were growing up, the biggest personality in college football might have been Brian Bosworth. Deion Sanders was probably right there too.
Yeah.
Right? You got Brian Bosworth. You got Michael Irvin was pretty, he's boisterous in Miami. It was very few though. And part of that may have been coaches suppressing it. But the other part was that if you didn't have cable, you had 4 channels.
Right.
They didn't have commercials where you could put a collegiate player on there, right? The best you got was a Wheaties box once a year. You had to win it all to be on that box. And I think now, with all the social platforms, it's almost like you can't imagine a world without NIL now.
Yeah.
Everything else was put in place. That was the last piece. Just let them get paid from it.
Just let them get some money. Everybody else ate already enough off them college players, man.
And I think, so you talked a bit about Mike Loxley. I mentioned Jay Novell. Obviously, we're talking about Prime. We're talking about black coaches. But I remember a time when there weren't as many black coaches. And at least when I was growing up, my friends and I, we had an admiration for some white coaches who were tough, because we never saw our own people in leadership able to be tough and be strong as leaders, right? So you got like a Lou Holtz, or you got like a Mike Dicker,
yeah.
Right? Those kind of people. But the irony is that as we got older, we started seeing their conservative ways, and they weren't necessarily affiliating with policy that would make it, a better life for us.
Better for us,
right?
Yeah.
They started supporting candidates that didn't have our best interests at heart. So these people that we admired on television as kids ended up not being the people we thought they were for us.
Because us better listen to them. That's what you there for, to
do
what they say.
And so part of that, I think, was also like preventing players from getting their just due as well.
Yeah, I think that's funny you said it that way, because really, I think for me, that was at the heart of my question. Is the outrage for some of this we talking about should do in the Maybach or whatever the case may be, is that these young black kids supposed to stay in their place.
Yeah, some coaches have already said that. Guys like Dabo Swinney and a few others have kind of alluded to that. Not so well NIL, but also the portal. The portal is giving them autonomy too.
Yeah, power.
Give them that
it's a power struggle to control their own destiny.
So now, if you're a white coach, not saying they all are subjected to just this, but typically speaking, they were able to leverage the resources to keep kids in line.
Yeah.
Now you got to really reason with a kid, where Prime comes in, his personality, his experience gives him an advantage there.
Yeah.
That's why he got 5-star guys to go to Jackson State.
You got to relate to him now.
You got to relate to him.
You got to really coach him. You can't be like, little poor.
I'm
saving you.
Yeah, it's either this or going back to where you were.
Yeah, nah.
There's a moment that we often reflect on, but I don't think we saw the signs. At the Super Bowl, when Prime was covering for the NFL Network, when Marshawn Lynch was there, and he wouldn't talk to anybody but Prime. Prime pulled up on him. It was almost like people making this joke about like the one deacon in the church at the lock game that could talk to the kid nobody could talk to, right? But it was excluding nobody. He wouldn't talk to anybody, and Prime was the one that could talk to him. But the reality is, the people like Marshawn Lynch, Dez Bryant, Pac-Man Jones, these are literally guys that he was building relationships with for no reason, just planting seeds in them, helping them without any expectation of anything in return.
Sure.
And that was giving him the experience to deal with that population. And unlike his counterparts in his generation, who typically criticize the young guys, he was all in with them.
Yeah.
Them, the rappers in their generation, you name it. So he's been putting the work in, not just as a coach, as a former athlete, but just being on the scene and like relating to all the other guys. It's not a transactional thing.
Sure.
So it's not a surprise when you really unpeel the onion and say, he been doing this so long, it makes sense.
And setting the standard for excellence, right?
Yeah, at the same time.
Also, at the same time.
Yeah.
They know he ain't with the foolishness. You know what I'm saying? And I think that is powerful. And I know that it has and gonna continue to have, these collateral impacts. Some intended, some not, in a good way. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
For players and for obviously for coaches. And I think it's also cool to see. I was seeing that Warren Sapp was saying, I know he been kind of helping out a little bit, but he was saying he really want to be on the staff.
Yeah.
I think that's cool too.
Yeah.
That's inspiration. He inspiring people. Like, man, I'm trying to go work with Deion and pour into them youngins.
And I think I gotta check, but I think there's a requirement that you have to have a college degree.
Yeah, he said you gotta go back to school first.
So you got to get the classes in. So I think a lot of guys are going to get off
Which
the
I
couch.
I think that's dope.
Yeah.
At the end of the day.
You get off the couch and get that certification.
Yeah, I heard him say that. Like, I'm gonna go. Yeah, that's powerful too.
Yeah.
Very powerful.
Yeah, very powerful. And to that point, hopefully he'll work there, and then eventually get a gig doing his own thing at another university.
Yeah, I think that probably is the aim. But I wonder too though, how much the BA requirement has kept black people out of coaching too.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I know somebody else who had a chance, a friend of mine who had a chance for a D1 job. And he at the time, he's finished since then, but at the time, he hadn't completed the studies.
Yeah.
So I know somebody personally that went through
and
that.
I'm not here saying that I don't think that, or that I think that's a bad requirement.
Right.
But one has to ask, like, what was the motivation?
Well, it goes back to
it?
one thing you said early on in your work, specifically on that Sons of Life documentary. You talked about the police department here and the requirements, and it's a result of you having to deal with a more sophisticated population. So they require you to have 60 hours of college credits now, I think it is, to be a police officer, because you're dealing with more educated people. So who are you to come on a college campus being a college coach and you don't have a college degree?
And if you're trying to teach these student athletes or push these student athletes to complete that always probably should be a part of it. So that does. I think that's a line. I think
everything doesn't always have to have a material connection, but I think you're sending a message.
Yeah,
that from top to bottom.
Yeah, this is what this is.
This is what it is.
And educational focus and excellence is what comes even before this football team. And I would like to hope that is the, you know what I mean? That does make sense to me. You feel me?
Yeah.
But I just thinking about that, if that's a requirement, how many of those guys who played the sport at a college level and at a pro level, but didn't get their degree, didn't finish. You know what I'm saying?
It's a rough,
especially in the age of, like, from our age group and under, where people going to do a year in college, 2 years in college. I know on the football side, most people leave early, gonna leave in junior year.
Yeah.
But still, you know what I mean? How many of those guys go back? But may want to coach, probably can coach, but to Warren Sapp's point, though, if you want to do it bad enough, then go get that done.
And you got somewhere where they're going to welcome you.
Yeah.
And you can get it done.
Yeah, go get that done. Yeah. But I personally did not understand. That wasn't my understanding initially. I didn't know that. Yeah.
It's one thing I think about with, I guess, the prime effect is, I think about this and I pose it to you, how valuable will this prime effect be if it's not duplicated?
Yeah.
Because I think...
Well, let me ask you this, though.
Go ahead.
To the question you posed, the statement you just made. Is duplication... doing what Prime did? When you say duplication,
I don't want you high stepping and wearing bandanas if that ain't your thing. Yeah. That ain't what I'm saying, right?
Or the mirror glasses.
Yeah. No,
he say 1.1. How many?
Gross like 4 million.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Bad, man.
Yeah, a lot. You look at Eddie George at Tennessee State, right? Again, Mike Loxley at Maryland. there are black coaches that did it, but specifically athletes that have now gone on to leverage their prominence, face card, to be able to recruit kids and build a program.
Yeah.
Right? Ed Reed at one point was going to do Bethune, but then backed out. Duplicating it, I mean, is just having an impact in your way.
Okay. Got it.
And being able to attract kids, knowing what you went through being coached by people who don't affiliate with your life, you have a better understanding of the kids than the people that coached you.
Facts.
And you're going to make sure the experience is enriching because of that. Yep. That's what I mean by duplicating it, right?
Cool. Because I think it's going to be some people that try to, and it's going to fail.
It's going to look bad.
That's what I was,
I think, real quick, side note, that might have been what Jay Novell was trying to avoid. Because if you Colorado State's coach and you're black and you've been coaching there for a couple of years and then prime time comes to your state.
Now your people asking you, hey, man.
Are you going to be prime?
Right. That's what that, exactly.
And I think those comments might have been him trying to delineate himself from prime.
Yeah, sure.
But at the expense of undercutting that man.
Yeah, man. Yeah, you gotta be courageous enough to have that conversation with your people. Yeah. You don't shit on him.
So it's two things going on. It's the new coaches trying to get on the scene that come from the same cloth, the same elk, so to speak. And then there are the existing black coaches. Like there's two different types of pressure when I'm talking about duplicating what Prime is doing.
Right.
The goal, I think, is to have a more equitable experience for the 70% of the roster, which is black.
Right.
Right? They go to a major university, and to this point, it's felt like you've been a tool for the university. Now you got this coach who understands you because he comes from where you come from, and we want this to be an equitable experience, and we want to win at the same time, right? So you got the existing coaches who see what Prime is doing, and they may try to draft some of that into their whole scheme. But then you got the guys on the couch or the guys who've been coaching youth football, but I know the game, I play the game, I want to get in that game at that level. It's two different populations, but they both have this charge now to kind of take it to another level and at least mirror some of what Deion is doing. Like, I think the Prime effect is not as successful as it needs to be until we get to that point where we really start having more of a dominance of black coaches, not just in skin color, but in that mindset that it's not just about using kids as a tool, but we want to make this an equitable experience.
Yeah. It's Deion Sanders, man.
Yeah.
Must be the money.
He one-on-one.
Oh, he definitely is.
He one-on-one.
Yeah.
But what I would like to see, so Coach K for Duke has this thing called the K Academy, right?
Yeah, I'm familiar.
People pay like $35,000 to go down there and spend like a week with him. Professionals, like leaders across the board, right? Business, finance, the whole nine, right? And I would love to see Deion take some of what he has and create an academy like that for black men, and in particular black men that want to coach. Because it could be like it's a flash in the pan. Deion could move on, could go to a different school. He could be doing something totally different 3 years from now. But we still have this lingering issue where we got to make sure our kids are not being taken advantage of.
Yeah, that ain't going to go away.
You know?
You think he go pro?
Nah.
No. Never.
I don't think he go pro. I think they too far gone at that point.
Really? Yeah. For what? For what he wants to
what he want to do.
Yeah, what he want to do.
Yeah.
What he love doing.
Yeah. I mean, to your point, Shador's his son driving the Phantom. He kind of got some pull in that situation. But when you got 25, 30 guys driving Phantoms, you know, because at the end of the day, right, it's 32 teams in the NFL. It's only about 7 of them really fighting for a Super Bowl.
Right.
Over 25 just getting checks. You know what I mean? Like, when you get down to it, it's only about 7 teams really think they going to do it. And they really committed to doing it. The other one's just going through the motions. You catch one of them 25 teams.
But wouldn't the goal be to build that team into one of those 7 teams?
But even the owners got to be on that. They got to be on that wave, and they not always on that wave. Some of them just happy to be in the building because, from my perspective, I feel like some of the owners in the NBA and NFL, they got those teams for status.
Yeah.
I'm getting close.
It's a shiny car.
Yeah, it's a shiny car. You own a team, I own a team. I can do some other business with you now because I own a team.
Yeah, that ain't their only.
And I think you seen during the period when David Stern was in the NBA, they talked about how he ruled with an iron fist, and how certain owners wouldn't even look him in the eye. Yeah. He come in the room, board of directors, owners meetings, and certain owners just knew we not even in play. Certain trades they would block. You're not even gonna get that trade.
Right. That's how Stern was carrying.
Yeah, I don't think everybody's always out to win. So if he not picked up by that guy,
yeah, it's gonna be interesting. I think it's gonna be a lot, and it may even start as early as this upcoming off season, right? Where
Jerry will make a call if things fall apart with Mike McCarthy. Jerry gonna make a call.
Man, this is
Magic and them might make a call.
But I'm saying, why I gotta be Jerry first, man, to make a call? But they do got history though, right?
Yeah, they got history. They have a favorable relationship.
And probably there will probably be people saying Jerry called Dion. Yeah. But you're right, man. Maybe Mag. I mean, because we're probably gonna be in the running. I mean, anyway, be enemy there. But I think we would be in the running for a head coach. But I also feel like I don't know, Si. I don't know. I don't know. I gotta believe that for Deion Sanders becoming an NFL head coach would be seen as the pinnacle. And I just feel like he would want to give that a shot. Now, I'm sure he would be selective on which team or whatever the case may be. But I feel like especially based on what he's done, I don't know how he feels about naysayers or critics or whatever, but if he wins, he's winning already to a small degree. But if he continues to win at that level, the question is going to be like, but that's can you win at the top level?
Let me ask you a question. We both been watching sports for 35, 40 years at this point.
Yeah.
How many rock star NBA and NFL coaches are there all time? They just rock stars.
Yeah, I mean.
Now, while you think about that, you go to college. John Thompson was a rock star.
Yeah.
Dean Smith a rock star. Coach
Bobby
K,
Knight.
rock star.
Yeah.
They in their domain, they don't even carry wallets and nothing. They run their thing.
But, and I don't know where you're going necessarily, but I think you're going, my question though will become though, but again, this guy been, and this could go, I guess, to your side or mine, but he's been a rock star, and I think maybe I think those same offers to go to the next level came to them same people that we talking about, or look at that.
Of course,
Bert
Lakers wanted
Switzer,
Coach K. Yeah,
you know what I'm saying. I'm just thinking Jimmy Johnson, who took the leap to the next level. Some of them do it, some of them don't. But I just don't know if Prime could not go to the NFL. And I'm really gonna be, especially once his boys go too. Now I don't know if his desire is to coach them on a pro level.
He don't have that much autonomy over that.
Right. And, I mean, it could randomly happen if team they go to, then you know what I'm saying. But I do think that he wants to see if he would want to win in the NFL. You know what I'm saying? And then what else is crazy? I mean, I mentioned about his sons, but dang, at this point, some of his former players are already in the league and will be in the league. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think that it's gonna be a public. not demand so much, but an expectation. I think the public will want to see that. Yeah. Now, how does that feel with you? What you mean? Like, it's clearly that he is a master at motivating and coaching young men. You know, does that translate to the NFL locker room? Oh, but the question I also was kind of alluding to a little bit though with the NIL stuff, even though you're right, and not every player gonna have a NIL, gonna have deals and all that, but the NIL kind of puts college coaches more in the I think in the same situation as NFL coaches.
Sure. Yeah, you don't have much control.
Yeah, they earning their own, whatever the case may be, and so because of that, there may be that might make Deion even more. The transition might not be as, you know what I'm saying, because he's dealing with that now. I mean, on his team is probably, you know, again, it's his sons and, you know, but the other guys aren't his sons, you know what I'm saying? Even though they winning right now, but still he up against the portal stuff, he up against NIL stuff, and the youngest being able to, you know, sort of control their own destiny. So I think that leap to the NFL is imminent. Or okay, another question: do you think he would? I know this is only his first year at Colorado. Do you think he would go to another college team?
He took a little jab at Florida State the other day. A woman reporter called him a knoll, and he cleared it up. Like, I didn't graduate from Florida State. He graduated from HBCU. I forgot which one. But he's kind of distanced himself. He's not really in the best space with Florida State. People have been talking about him going there. People have been making jokes about Alabama because they kind of struggling right now.
Oh yeah,
you know, that's the Rolls Royce right there.
Sure. Was Bowden his coach?
Yeah, Bowden was his coach. Yeah.
He was pretty. He was a larger than life. Yeah. Bobby Bowden was a larger than life guy.
Man, them guys was larger than life. I mean, Colorado was perfect. They were 1-11. Their AD, you know, it's just a bubbly personality, wants to make it happen. They had Nike school. I mean, everything was just perfect, right?
Everything was aligned, yeah.
They got out the way. I don't know that the schools that are worth going to are going to get totally out of the way. Yeah. He needs to, like, this is me.
Yeah.
That's why the NFL is not always advantageous for him either. You can't. Yeah, it's just that it
ain't
can't
be bigger than the.
Yeah.
Yeah. As you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That would be interesting.
Yeah.
And like you said, from a coach perspective.
Yeah. Colorado, there was a perfect storm.
Yeah.
They had to do something. I mean, listen, Colorado played Nebraska week 2 of the season.
Yeah.
That never would have happened when we were kids.
I know.
Last week of the season, they fighting for a title.
Yeah, who going to the
That's how far they falling.
Yeah, I know.
So it was like, man, we gotta do something. He's available. Let's make the call. I don't see Alabama being 1-11 no time soon. I don't see Florida State being that way either.
Yeah.
You know, so those sort of schools probably not on the radar. You know, he might end up being here. The other thing too about the nostalgia around the other teams, like the uniforms, black and gold, and I think people affiliate with that sort of stuff too, right?
Right.
That just came back in my mind about that Clinton Yates question.
Sure.
Yeah, just all of that. Just
that shit match with stuff.
Yeah.
Right? Like, real style wise, which is always big.
Put you back in the whole NWA mindset.
Yeah, fact.
Rappers when, you know, I saw Gilly with the Colorado sweater on hoodie on the other day. This took me back, seeing that stuff this week.
Yeah.
I think he's totally in tune with that too. I think that's a part of what he wants his legacy to be. I think Prime wants to be somebody that the kids can look to.
Sure.
Because honestly, you know, I talked to you about this offline so many times, man. Our black men that are in prominence, right, in prominent positions, when they get like 50 and over, they let us down, bro.
Yeah.
We be talking about that offline a lot.
Yeah.
Like it ain't many that we can be like, either I can't get to you or you speaking out of turn, saying things you don't know about, you outdated, and you down in the young guys. Yeah. Prime like the only one that's not doing that.
Yeah, man.
I think he know that.
Yeah, that's a good point.
You know,
That's a good point.
he
definitely embraced the
he like the only one. I don't want to say names and disrespect people,
right.
because some of them people I still admire, but they've had
They showing their hand.
they showed their hand with on record quotes about the people that we love, and he been like the only one.
Yeah. Is he believe that whatever it is, like that behavior, all that stuff can be redirected, because he's in the business of doing that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like you just set them youngers up in the right situation around the right people, and it's probably, I mean, basically, like again, what probably had to happen, you know, for him.
Yeah.
His life, he been through some things,
Yeah.
and even how he kept, with whatever he was going through with the foot surgery and all that, he got his toes amputated and all that. That's it. And whatever they were saying that, they're having the blood clot issue, that's life threatening.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And I think the big thing about what he's doing now is he's inspiring people. I hope people understand. So Michael Irvin has been talking about this a lot. Michael Irvin's talked about this the last 3 weeks of the season. People don't recognize Deion's level of commitment to preparation.
Yeah.
He like, I've known Deion 30-some years. Everything always been prepared. And his character's always been high. He's always been prepared. And I hope that rubs off.
Right.
Because the reason why he's a threat is because you're not going to see him doing some of the things that other coaches have done. Right? Just issues off the field, character issues. You're probably not going to see that from him at this point, given the fact that consistently for 35 years he's always been in the spotlight and nothing significant has come up.
He's made them other mistakes already.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So hopefully that rubs off, because as you were talking a minute ago, I had this flash in my mind. We were giving out flowers to Big E, Delano, and I thought about Coach Mike at Johnson Junior High School.
Yeah, shout out to Coach Mike.
Right. And, I mean, an incredible junior high football program here in D.C. Just beat the number 3 team in the country.
Yeah, West
blew them
Virginia,
out.
right?
Like 42-0, something crazy, right? He's won like 8 out of the last 10 junior high championships. And I would love to see a guy like Prime meet a guy like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
They need to meet.
And they do. And just think about, for all the Coach Mikes around the country, what Prime is doing. That's what I'm saying. The impact that's having on them. You understand what I'm saying?
I mean, despite that we know him for Must Be the Money, I don't think that money is the driving factor with this.
Must be the money.
That thing was cranking too.
Yeah, that thing. Deion, wow, I used to leave this country. Bad man, bro.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, clearly also, right? He gonna get what he worth though.
Yeah, he gonna get what he worth. He not gonna walk away and be cheated.
He getting what he worth, and I think that's. I had a conversation with a good friend of mine about something the other day. Good friend of ours. And, he mentioned put it like this, he thought that somebody's rate for a service that they provide was too high. Right? And my question, what I questioned was, why did he feel that way? Like, what was that based on? That if he felt that his service garnered or was deserving of that number, like, who are you to judge? Especially if you weren't the one paying the number.
So he wasn't even
service wasn't being rendered to him.
Oh, okay, all right, that's kind of different.
Yeah, but I think his coach was like, man, he just felt like that was too much. But for the service that was being provided, I didn't. I feel like what people have been paying for said service throughout the years, right, was they were underpaying people. So that number to me was just in vain with what the cost should be.
I've gotten to the point now, I don't know that I'll ever totally do this. but I'm more of a minimalist now than I was early in my life. And the things that I pay for now are typically things that I really like and I really need.
Right.
And there are some people that provide services for me on a regular basis where the cost is a little higher, and I take pride in paying it because I want them to stay in business because I appreciate their service.
Right.
If they shut down, it would really bother my life.
Yeah. Yeah.
So.
And are you satisfied with?
I'm satisfied with
the service.
So my thing is, if I need something, I only get now what I like and need.
Yeah. No excess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was, I only wear Hokas now at this point, right?
Yeah.
And I was in a department store, saw some shoes, designer shoes that were like $1,300. And I said I would never buy those shoes, but if the shoes I like that make my feet feel a certain way, and if they went to $1,300, they still worth me. I would still buy a pair of $1,300 Hokas.
Yeah.
That's my point, right?
Yeah.
I like them. I feel like I need them to a degree to do the things I do with my lifestyle.
Right.
So, that person you talking about, they shouldn't be in the business of considering buying things they don't like and need anyway.
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean?
Nor, have an opinion on what other people spend their money on for the things that they like.
That person really needs that day is buying it.
Yeah.
It's essential to their life.
Yeah, I agree.
And I want to grow to a point where I only get things that are really essential.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I want to grow to a point where I can buy things I just think about, even if I don't.
We need to start coaching college football.
Yeah, we need to start coaching college football. Or we just need to start charging the rate for the service that we provide. Yeah. Have them rates match what we give. And that's you understand what I'm saying? And and that's real. For real, bro. And I think that's what Prime also again is, establishing a bar, a standard, right? They're like, they paying whatever. I just say they gave him $7 million a year. Now you seeing why?
You seeing why?
He delivering.
The athletic director said we don't have the money when they did the press conference. They didn't have a dime of the $29 million. They got $28 million from their alums. I looked on Wikipedia. You gotta look at Colorado's alums. They got some really incredible people that are in their alumni base.
Yeah.
They dug in their pockets and they got it.
Think about it. See what I'm saying?
They got it.
And look at the return on investment that already happened. 3 games in.
Yeah, because they rank schools in part by the number of applications they reject. That's how they rank schools, right? So every school you go in when you doing slug from here on out, when you talk to those boys, what school you want to go to? Want to go to college? I'm going to Colorado.
Yeah.
It's going to be so many kids just applying to Colorado now.
Facts.
That's going to raise their applications. It's going to raise their rating. And that's going to make them more, attractive. And it'll allow them to gradually raise the tuition and, it'll make all the fast food joints that have spots in their cafeterias and all that be more attractive and attract more of that.
Yeah, and that's what I mean about the collateral stuff that you won't even think about.
Think about this, right? We never talk about any colleges in any other countries. I think a part of that is because they don't have sports the way we do.
Yeah.
Everywhere else is just university.
Right,
university. It matters here, the branding, in large part because of the sports.
And the sports help drive especially the money, I'm saying, the revenue. Revenue for places to become these research universities and build new labs and new facilities and da.
So to your point, why you paying all that money for college? Well, that's why.
Yeah.
Because people say it all day. You went to college and got that degree. You don't even do nothing in that work. But guess what? Saturday, I was at the Hampton Howard game with literally hundreds of my friends, and we talking about things we want to do together. That's worth more than what the degree was cost.
Facts. And,
And we won, by the way.
Oh, okay. Yeah. That's y'all the real HU?
Always been.
Yeah.
They got a new joint now, HU, oh no.
Oh, no.
Yeah, it's just oh no every time they come on the field with us, man.
Sure,
no,
and as we, I do want to, I guess as we about to end this show, I do just want to shout out Somebody I got a, you know, special to me. Somebody I got a lot of love for, like a sister to me. Janelle.
Yeah.
And Chris, aka Beanie.
Yeah.
They lost their son, little Christopher. Munch.
Yeah.
What all of us call him, you know. His funeral was today.
Yeah, I stopped past the viewing for a moment.
So I couldn't even, you know, pull myself. I couldn't. And, you know, Janelle and Jess went through pregnancy at the same time.
Yeah.
Munch was born September 11th, 2013. Izzy was born October 17th. You know, and Munch had issues, you know, since he came into the world, and basically.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's just hard because, you know, and I look at, and we just, you know, we take things for granted, man, that we just gonna have, our children are going to be okay, healthy, you know what I'm saying? And it's just, and he inspired us with his strength, his tenacity, and they inspired us as parents.
Indeed.
You know,
Yeah,
their commitment and their love for their child.
Yeah,
and it's something that I think, in their transparency about what they went through, which didn't have to happen, and what a lot of people wouldn't have been as transparent.
Yeah. If people knew, so there are billions of people on Earth, but if people knew that every pregnancy and every childbirth is literally a miracle, that everybody comes out okay on the back end, we would take life a lot more seriously.
And including the moms. Like,
Yeah.
it's almost like one of them things where you gotta, like, you almost go to the brink of death to bring life.
It is.
Yeah.
It is.
That's what happens, bro.
You know, real quick, I do this class that I teach on unreasonable hospitality. And I tell this story about my wife going through pregnancy. In the last meeting with the doctor before, you know, she was set to go to labor, her last words to the doctor was, "Don't let me die."
Yeah.
You know? So
Right.
if we really step back and analyze that there are hundreds of babies at the hospital center right now,
Right.
born today, each one of those things were like miraculous. And, you know, seeing Janelle and Beanie spend that 10-year period so closely to that baby, it just, in the morning sometimes I think about their specific situation.
Yeah.
In how I get my child up, get ready for school.
I'm saying.
And paying that extra attention.
And like, could I, you know, what they, you know, I guess you do what you have to do, but just to do that, how they did that, bro.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And yeah, man, I can't really find the words, but, you know, Munch will live on through all of us and what he taught us. You know what I'm saying? And what they taught us about family and about love and about, you know, just fighting to the end. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know, Munch, we love you, man.
Love you, and we're gonna dedicate this show to that family, the Thomas family, Bolden family. Much love, man.
Yeah.
And again, you know, stay close and hug your loved ones, and just don't take it for granted. And I think that that in itself, I think, is the summation of this conversation, is that we get success when we pay more attention, right? When we, that's why Prime is having that success. He's paying attention to the people that he's working with, and the love that we have for each other is about really paying attention.
That's right.
And doing what's necessary.
Facts.
Right.
100%, man.
Yeah. So thank y'all again for tuning into the Heart of the City. As always, man, we want to be able to have conversations that people can listen in on, take some things away from the conversation, and hopefully it can benefit you, and you can take it and grow with it. So
no question.
Thank y'all as always. Till the next time.
Peace and love.
Peace.